Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la seleccionmexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again is my co-host and Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, what's good, man?
Hey, how's it going, dude? Welcome back after your stint in Monterrey. How was the stadium and the match between Tigres and Querétaro?
Man, I don't think I could have picked a better match to go to, man.
I know.
5-0. Great atmosphere. Shout out to our boy Max. Was able to go attend it with him. One of our listeners for sure. Good friend. And good time, man. Very good time. So it was good, man. The next game should be crazy there after the September friendlies. El Clásico, obviously, it's going to be
Yeah.
a big one, definitely. But yeah, it's talking about September friendlies, man. We are going to be previewing here the September friendlies for the USMNT and Mexico. Let's get into it. Let's start off first with the USMNT, and then we'll do the second half of the episode previewing Mexico's 2 September friendlies. So obviously, as you know, one of the opponents that both teams are going to be playing is Uzbekistan. USMNT plays them on September 9th, this Saturday in St. Louis, Missouri. USMNT also plays on the 12th, 3 days later, Oman at St. Paul, Minnesota. Oman, I still can't believe that. From our previous episode where we kind of reacted to the roster drop from Triple G, the main big difference that's happened since then is Johnny Cardoso, the guy who plays in Brazil, is out. And Tanner Tessman, Venezia player, is in for him. So other than that, it's still kind of more or less the A team with a couple of randoms kind of sprinkled in there that trying to make their name and their case for themselves to kind of stay with that A team. People like Cade Cowell come to mind, or Cremenashi, the Inter Miami Argentine / U.S. international, Kevin Paredes. Players, Christopher Lund, right, that are kind of trying to break in. So, we reacted to this roster, pretty strong roster for such a mediocre opposition. But I know I'm kind of crapping on these guys, but I mean, how are you like this opposition? But really, I mean, I don't get the point of these friendlies, man. But anyway, I think before we kind of dive into the opposition, even though it's going to be quick. There's not much information on these two teams, right? But I think we're going to see a similar formation as we've seen the previous, in the Nations League. We know Triple G and his assistant bjcallaghan like to play that 4-3-3. So, do you think? I mean, do you think this is what we'll be seeing? And do you think it's going to be a similar starting lineup against Uzbekistan as we saw against Canada and Mexico?
Yeah, I don't. Well, I guess formation wise, I don't think he's gonna deviate from his regular 4-3-3. Right. This is the first match where Triple G is back, so I don't see him, or I don't anticipate him going crazy with it. I think he's gonna go back to his roots and stick to what he knows. I have the feeling that we're probably gonna see a very similar lineup as the last one that he coached during Qatar 2022. Um, and so, yeah, I don't think he's going to try anything different. Well, I mean, we all know that Triple G isn't necessarily a coach that is known for,
Right.
making changes on a whim, right? Or before a match. And I guess with the exception of Jesus Ferreira against the Netherlands, but I got to let that go. But yeah, no, I don't really anticipate any huge changes. Maybe the only one that is I don't want to say obvious or strange in general. It's just the fact that we don't have Walker Zimmerman, who's one of the regular features of Triple G and his MLS boys. But I think I don't know if it's. I'm not too sure if it was because he's injured or just because he didn't call him up. I want to say is the latter.
Yeah.
With him being injured, and we should see Chris Richards starting instead of Walker Zimmerman.
Yeah, I think I don't necessarily think it was an injury. I think there was some like precautionary thing, but it was more or less. I think he wanted to call in the Euro guys, right? Chris Richards, somebody he's not too
Gotcha.
familiar with. Paredes, Lan, different defenders, since he's really familiar with Walker Zimmerman. But yeah, I agree with you, man. It might be pretty identical, other than Zimmerman, and obviously the absence of Tyler Adams, right? So
Yeah.
and the inclusion of Balogun. So
Hmm.
I guess for that 4-3-3, I think we're looking at least for Uzbekistan. Matt Turner in goal, obviously.
Hmm.
Jedi Robinson, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Sergino Dest, the back four, which is back four that we're familiar with that we saw. Well, I guess we didn't see Tim Ream in the Nations League because of injury, but the other guys we saw, Chris Richards did amazing or did really well in that tournament.
Hmm.
Then the middle three that it's always been Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, and Tyler Adams. But when Tyler Adams isn't in there, we see Luca de la Torre step in. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident we'll be seeing him. He's kind of the go-to guy, somebody that hasn't broken it out as a first 11 starter, but is a reliable backup, right? And
Hmm.
up top, I think we'll see the familiar Christian Pulisic, Tim Weah, left and right side, and taking top number 9 spot. Balogun going to be playing for the first time under Triple G, and I don't think if you had asked Balogun a year ago if he thought himself playing against Oman and Uzbekistan, he would have said yes. But here he is.
I have a quick question for you. Do you think? Well, I also agree with you that we shall see Balogun as the starting nine. I don't foresee Ricardo Pepi starting ahead of him, no in Triple G. But I want to ask you this: you think Triple G will play it even safer and put Team Wea as the striker and Brendan Aronson as a winger?
Like we saw at the World Cup, he
Yeah.
oftentimes did play Tim Way up front.
Hmm.
Damn, that's I don't even know how you came up with that question. That's you're thinking like Triple G, man. If anybody would do that, it would be him. I don't know. I don't think so. Just because he now he did that because we lacked a striker, right?
Hmm.
So now that he has a full two strikers playing in a decent level, Pepe and Balogun, I think he sticks with a number 9. I don't see him doing a false 9 and trying to add Aronson into the mix there, especially not against these teams where you can win on quality alone. You don't even have to have tactics, really.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think so. But I do think he'll mix it up for the second game. Everybody that didn't play in the first game will be playing the second game. For the
Yeah.
second
Yeah.
game against Oman, we'll probably see Kate Cal start. We'll probably see Tillman start,
Pepe.
Testman start, Pepe up front. Yeah. Kremashi, sorry, Joel Scally, the two Wolfsburg and Palermo players, Christopher Lundingham, Paredes, and Drake Callender maybe taking the between the sticks there. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think there's enough talent there against mediocre enough opposition that he'll be able to rotate for the second game. But quickly, kind of just wrapping this one up. I don't. There's not too much to talk about. I mean, there's really no previous records
No.
between Oman and the USA and Uzbekistan. So I mean, uh, if they have met, it's been in very unofficial matches that we even struggle to find records on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think playing at home, playing with your A team against this opposition, I think we might be in for a 4-0 first match, 3-2-0 second match.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
go for it.
to me, these matches are like the equivalent of when we were in college, those homecoming games where we went to UTSA. We're not trying to say that. Well, UTSA, I guess now is a decent football college, but back in the day, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And they will bring uh, even worse teams against them so they can just obliterate them. And I think this is the case where the USSF is trying to give Triple G do him a solid and be like, hey man, these are two matches that you can comfortably win. Smash your opponent and just essentially try to build up the hype that we lost after Qatar 2022.
Get a good homecoming and make you
Yeah.
look good, more or less. Yeah, good point.
Hmm.
I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if, imagine if you ties or plays bad again.
Dude, that
Jeez,
would be hilarious, dude.
it would be hilarious, and that would make for some funny content for PPG here.
Hmm.
But sadly, I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see what happens. Obviously, again, that match against Uzbekistan Saturday, the 9th, and then 3 days later on the 12th, USMNT take on Oman. That brings us next to the other side of PPG, the other side of the coin, La Selección Mexicana eltri, also playing two matches this September, September 9th against Australia, a better team. A team that normally qualifies for the World Cup, so maybe there
Hmm.
are some learning opportunities there. Assuming Australia brings their A team, and Mexico versus Uzbekistan on the 12th in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Sorry, the first game against Australia is in Dallas or Arlington at AT&T Stadium, the home that Jerry built there for the Dallas Cowboys. Adrian, has there been any modifications or any changes to the convocados, the called up players for El Tri?
Yeah, so from the last our last episode where we reacted to Jimmy Lozano's first official call up, the only difference is that unfortunately Sebastian Cordova has been dropped due to a pubitis injury. He sustained an injury on that match that you actually went to.
Yeah,
So
that was the
you
one
know,
bad thing.
I, yeah, that was you were a little salado over there, man.
A little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, no, this is a problem that he has been carrying on for a while now. Even during the last liguilla, he had to play a couple of matches, under pain and with some, I guess, pain management techniques or I guess medicine, so he could last for entire matches. This is something that showed up shortly before the beginning of the season, and that's the reason why we didn't see him that much on Leagues Cup. Unfortunately, it happened again. They're trying their best not to or to avoid surgery because this is something that uh, can get healed up by surgery. Still don't know the I guess the gravity, or not the gravity. Sorry, the I guess the how intense it is, right? The intensity of the
Yeah.
damage.
Hmm.
Um, and they Tigres both Tigres and eltri decided to essentially not just to remove him, drop him from the list. And Jimmy Lozano is not calling anyone up, so he's gonna play with a roster of 23 players instead of 24. I think that's a wise choice. It isn't like he has a long list of players that he can call up, right? Um, and I think the looking at the roster that he has, he can definitely cover this sensible miss from,
Yeah.
or I guess it's not from Sebastian Cordova.
And it's not like Sebastian Cordova at this point in time is a locked-in starting 11 player for El Tri's A team. As
Yeah,
much as we would like for him to be, he just isn't there yet. And so, I mean, it is a downer that he's not going to be playing, but Jimmy's not going to lose any sleep over it, especially against
exactly.
this opposition, right? Um,
Hmm.
Before I let you talk in about your potential lineup here, I noticed you have a potential lineup formation of 4-2-3-1. Um, Jimmy is a guy that likes to, or in his tenure, at least in the Gold Cup with La Selección Mayor, he played 4-1-4-1 against Costa Rica. He played four
Hmm.
four two against Jamaica. He played 4-3-3 against Panama in the final. He likes to mix it up. It looks like he's still kind of working on what formation best suits him, right? How
Yeah.
did you land on the 4-2-3-1? Is this a formation that he liked to play back in his club when he played a coach club, or back when he coached the under 20s for Mexico?
Yeah, so it isn't that often that you see him playing this formation 4-2-3-1. I think he normally, if we go back, right, you can see maybe a couple of matches with the under 23s and a couple of matches whenever he was coaching club. But normally he would start like this and then morph into a 4-3-3, 4-1-4-1. Fortunately enough, he has the kind of players that can adapt to any of those formations, right? If he decides to move from a 4-3-1 into a 4-3-3, he can definitely move, to I guess the right midfielder and the left midfielder up to be wingers, and then have one of the I guess the either moving the central attacking midfielder onto the to a wing, and then have three midfielders, or just relocate them so you have two wingers, one striker, and then three midfielders. He can also adapt one of the two central midfielders to be, I guess, either a defensive midfielder just in front of the center backs, and be that link between midfield and the defense. But I think this is a kind of tactical movement or fluidity that Jimmy Lozano has, which I guess to me is kind of exciting because it just means that he's able that he really well, at least he's one of those coaches that really heavily relies on video, or I guess video study. He reviews his opponent with like prolonged tactical sessions with his tactical team, or I guess managerial team, as well as the players, so they really understand how to adapt to those situations. So depending on what the other side is trying to achieve, they are able to adjust on the go.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned that it's not a formation he typically plays, but if you're going to
Mhm.
try one out, it's good to
It
try it
will be
out
here.
against
Yeah,
these teams, right? Yeah, nothing to
exactly.
lose against these types of teams.
Hmm.
So you're saying 4-2-3-1. Who do you got starting against Australia? And yeah, go through the list for us.
Definitely. So, I mean, I think this it goes without saying that Memo Cho will be the starting keeper for at least the match against Australia, if not both. I wouldn't be surprised if he's starting for both, but right now he has no competition whatsoever. Luis Malagon is far from being a serious contender for that position. And then Toño Rodriguez, I mean, he's just, if Luis Malagon is far away, Toño Rodriguez is twice, away from Memo Ochoa.
Yeah.
So Memo Ochoa will start. As far as defense go, this is where it gets interesting because you don't have Cesar Montes available, and you also don't have Jorge Sanchez in here, but you do have Kevin Alvarez and Julian Araujo. I think most likely we'll see Kevin Alvarez play because Kevin Alvarez has had regular playing time with America throughout Leagues Cup and the beginning of this ligamx season. I don't think Julian Alvarez has played that consistently at Ude Palmas, so that's why I don't think he's going to start. And Kevin Alvarez will take the right back spot. As far as center backs, I think we're going to see Gilberto Sepulveda from Chivas making his debut with La Selección Mayor, and a regular feature in the name of Johan Vasquez. I think Johan Vasquez, this is just it's it's one of those European players that he can call up because either they have regular play time or he's not playing. And I think Johan Vasquez fits in the he's not really playing in Bologna. Um, so yeah, I think he's in Bologna or Genoa.
Genoa, right?
Genoa, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Genoa. So I think this is just a move for him to uh, try to get him some play time and hopefully help him find a move away from Genoa. And lastly, his old and trusty Jesus Gallardo. Right now, yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is that the other available left back is Gerardo Arteaga, but Gerardo Arteaga is not having a good start of the season with Genk this year. And other than that, I mean, you have Jesus Gallardo, and that's pretty much it. You don't have anyone else that can take that spot. I think it's kind of well, I guess Jesus Angulo can play as a left back, but he's better as a left center back than he is a left back. So right now, I think he's gonna go with Jesus Gallardo because if you look at the if you look at Jesus Gallardo versus Jesus Gallardo is a native left back player. He's not necessarily a dual purpose player like Jesus Angulo. So I think he's gonna stick with Jesus Gallardo.
Too many Jesuses, man.
I know, I know. For the midfield, the two shields that I think he's going to be using, no brainer, Edson Alvarez El Machin, which I'm still surprised that he's here. I don't see the need of calling him up for this one, but I guess they probably forced them. They probably forced Jimmy Lozano to call him up so they can fill up the stadium.
Yeah.
And then Luis Romo. Luis Romo is it's known everywhere that Jimmy Lozano really likes playing Luis
Hmm.
Romo. He feels very comfortable with him. He had him on with the under 23s during the Olympic Games, um, and
Yeah, good
he
Gold Cup.
actually yeah in the Gold Cup, and he actually coached them during his time in Querétaro. So he's one of I don't think Jimmy Lozano debuted him as a Primera División player, but he was a constant feature in Jimmy Lozano's tenure at Querétaro. So I don't see why he will move Luis Romo for anyone else. As far as the three midfielders speaking offensive, I guess from like moving forward, I guess offensively speaking, we'll see Charlie Rodriguez in the middle as the central attacking midfielder, and then we shall see Orbelin Pineda on the right as the right midfielder, kind of sort of leaning into being a wing, and then Uriel Antuna on the other side. Um, we will continue to see Uriel Antuna until we have Irving Lozano or El Tecatito back in the mix. And maybe Osir Herrera, but Osir Herrera is also injured. So we shall continue to see him, on that side of the pitch and make the same mistakes all over again on every single match. Unfortunately, yeah. I mean,
Unfortunately,
nothing.
yep.
I really don't have anything against him personally, but as far as a player, speaking of eltri and him as a player, uh, I mean, we've been preaching this for a while now. He's very bad on the last third of the pitch, always making the wrong decision. So, as much as we would like to see him on the bench, this is not going to be the case.
Right,
And
until we
lastly,
get somebody
yeah,
better to take over. And
yeah.
lastly, who you got as number 9, bro?
And number 9, I think is also no brainer, man. It's Santiago Jimenez El Bebote. He is the striker right now. He's on fire. He's starting the Eredivisie with the right foot, scoring pretty much on almost all matches that he has played. So yeah, I don't see why Raul Jimenez should start ahead of him or Alexis Vega. Although Raul Jimenez has been picking up, has had some decent matches. Maybe he's not. He hasn't reflected his form on the score for Premier League matches. Although he scored a Carabao Cup, um, he has we have seen him to be in better shape and in better spirits than how we saw him at the end of the 2022-2023 season and in Qatar. So I really hope that he's able to pick up and get his mojo back. But yeah, I really don't anticipate Raul Jimenez taking the spot over El Bote Jimenez. At least I don't see why Jimmylozano will take that route.
Do you think for the second match against Oman, we might see him just completely switch the 11 and start the guys the bench guys and give them a chance? Not against Oman, sorry, against Uzbekistan.
Uh, Uzbekistan, yeah, definitely. I think for against Uzbekistan, I wouldn't be surprised if, for example, the likes of Memo Ochoa, Santiago Jimenez, uh, who else, Orlin Pineda, Edson Alvarez, they just dart back to Europe. I mean, it just makes sense. They are, in the beginning of the season, and they do want to stay with the team in the best form possible. And yeah, we shall see. Maybe Luis Malagon starting as a keeper. We shall see maybe Julian Araujo, playing as a right back. We shall see the debut of El Chicote. No Chiquete, sorry, not Chiquete. Not Chicote, Chiquete Jesus Orozco as a center back, along with maybe Johan Vasquez, sorry, along with Jesus Angulo, or again with Gilberto Sepúlveda, just like he plays in Chivas. And then maybe I think Jesus Gallardo is going to be one of those players that will feature on both matches. In the middle, we shall see Luis Romo and then maybe Eric Sanchez instead of Edson Alvarez. And then ahead, I think we'll see against Uriel Antuna. But instead of Orbelin Pineda, we shall see either El Chino Huerta or Alexis Vega. And maybe instead of Charlie Rodriguez, we'll see Jordi Cortizo, who I'm really excited to see with El Tri's gear. And lastly, definitely, we shall see Raul Jimenez starting against Uzbekistan as the 9 of the team. If Raul Jimenez isn't starting, then we shall see Alexis Vega as the 9, and then El
Hmm.
Chino Huerta and Aurel Antuna or Piojo Alvarado on both sides.
Yeah, if Raul Jimenez doesn't take an early flight back to London there
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
keep his starting spot for Fulham, as we've seen him, like you
exactly.
said, have a good start to the season, as well as Edson Alvarez, who, yeah, I'm equally as shocked as you that he's here, just because he had a great first game with West Ham, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, I mean, he'll be able to fit back in there and not lose his spot because he had to come attend these
I
matches.
know, man. Freaking imagine losing
Um,
your spot just because you're gonna play two Molero matches
Molero
in
matches.
Dallas and in Atlanta, dude. Come on,
I
get out of
know,
here,
dude.
man.
Oh, man. Well, real quick, man. Again, no real big record. If, we at least we can find it between Mexico and Uzbekistan. If you have some info on if they've played before, even if it was an international friendly, drop it down in the comments. Let us know. We may have missed it, but I don't think we found anything. There have been, however, some friendlies and matches between Mexico and Australia. You want to kind of just run it down for us? How has Mexico
Yeah,
done
man.
historically?
Sure. It hasn't bode well for Mexico historically against Australia. As much as it came to my surprise. They had played, I believe, 5 times, and out of those 5 times, Mexico has won one, which was the first match back in 1970. Mexico won 3-0. After that, in 1980, they tied 2-2. In 1980, they tied 1-1 again. And on the last two matches, in December 1997, Mexico lost 3-1 against Australia. And then on the last match on record, which happened on the May 30th of 2001, so 22 years ago, Mexico lost against Australia 0-2 in the Confederations Cup of that year. So
Right.
negative record for Mexico against Australia. Let's see if this 2023 is the year where they even the score. Um, but yeah,
All right, man. Should be a good one then. Better than the other matches we have this weekend, I believe. So this is probably the highlight.
yeah, the
Um,
most competitive one
the most
at least.
competitive, yeah. Yeah. Well, man, Adrian, as we wrap this episode up, dude, working on this was find us.
Man, they can always
Oh,
find us
sorry,
on
sorry.
YouTube. Sorry.
One more thing before you go. Give me your score
All
predictions.
right.
My fault.
Gotcha. I think it's gonna be like a 2-1, 3-2 kind of thing. Maybe a goal difference in Mexico against Australia. I think Mexico is gonna win by the slightest chance. And then as far as Mexico Uzbekistan, I want to say like 3-0. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like a 1-0 kind of deal where
Mm,
they're playing like half and play essentially playing a medio gas, and they're not necessarily taking it seriously. I also see like a very worrying tie. So let's
yeah.
say 3-2 against Australia and like 1-0 against Uzbekistan.
All right. Cool, man. Yeah. Sorry I interrupted you there, but go ahead for us, man. Working
No
on this was
worries.
find us.
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at Puro Pinche Gol. We post stuff every now and then.
Yeah, so be sure to follow us on your preferred social media platform of choice and let us know in the comments what are your predictions for these games. How do you have USA faring against Oman and Uzbekistan? How do you have Mexico faring against Australia and Uzbekistan? Not the most exciting September window, but let us know what you be
Yeah.
watching. What do you want to see of each game? What do you want to take? You know, if you're a Mexico fan, what are your takeaways that you expect from this game? Same for the USMNT. Just let us know. We love interacting with you guys there in the comments. Yeah, man, another good one with you, brother. We'll definitely be watching this weekend, man.
Always a pleasure, and birds up, dude.
There you go. See ya, man.
See ya.